A rumor started circulating within a Paris police briefing room, suggesting one of the missing Louvre jewels might not be completely gone. Concealed within a single invaluable gem was a location device, a microchip minuscule enough to be fitted under a gem's clasp, engineered to transmit a quiet frequency if it was ever taken beyond the museum's boundary. Initially, this theory was met with widespread skepticism. However, the detection of a subtle electronic ping several days after the incident altered the entire situation. The investigation team confronted a startling possibility. One of the globe's most prized artifacts might still be emitting a locatable signal. This transmission persisted for a mere 97 seconds, relayed between secure communication towers and an orbital satellite before it dissipated near the French Riviera. While the signal's strength was weak, it sufficiently revitalized the search operation. The identified coordinates directed attention to a coastal area between Nice and Marseille, a region renowned for its luxury vessels and secluded inlets, as well as for containing one of Europe's most historic pathways for unauthorized transport. For the first time, there was a tangible lead to pursue. Dubbed the hidden tracker rumor, it initiated an international effort against the clock. Personnel from Interpol, Europol, and a French digital forensics unit assembled in southern France, meticulously examining every radar return, shipping record, and cargo document. In private discussions, agents considered whether the signal was genuine or an intelligent diversion created by the individuals involved. The Louvre administration declined to verify the existence of any digital security on the jewels, referencing their security protocols, though individuals with internal knowledge suggested that, after a prior museum security incident in 2021, certain high-value items were outfitted with what they termed silent sentinels, non-visible chips programmed to become active only upon removal from their display. Identification of that faint signal caused noticeable concern within Europe's network of illicit activity. Information spread indicating that the involved parties had belatedly understood they had taken an item containing a hidden locator. Some theories proposed they disposed of it in the Mediterranean to eliminate proof. Others suspected they attempted to block its signal prior to a border crossing. A particularly significant detail then emerged. The signal did not terminate immediately. It fluctuated, suggesting movement on a southerly path toward Marseille before ceasing completely. For the analysis team, that final transmission indicated one of two scenarios. The tracking device had either been rendered inoperable, or it was placed inside a storage unit designed to inhibit transmissions. By the fourth day, French law enforcement had discreetly initiated scans of port areas and storage facilities near the port of Marseille. Review of security footage from the night following the incident showed a black van delivering multiple sealed containers labeled as art restoration equipment. The enterprise named on the shipping documents was non-existent. Investigators followed the license plates and discovered they were associated with a short-term registration utilized in a separate, unresolved jewelry incident from 3 years prior. And the most concerning piece of evidence was uncovered. A full hour was absent from the museum's internal camera recordings. When technical experts restored partial data, they observed that the display case alert system had been deactivated by manual intervention from within, implying an individual with authorized access participated. The rumor regarding a hidden locator began to seem less like conjecture and more like an unforeseen clue left by the involved parties. French digital analysis teams processed the final coordinates, and their discovery was remarkable. The last active transmission originated less than 2 kilometers from a private marina, utilized by exclusive delivery services that focus on the discreet transportation of valuable items for clients who prioritize confidentiality over official documentation. If one of the missing jewels was moved through that channel, it would clarify the signal's abrupt disappearance. The locator could have been compressed, subjected to high heat, or disabled electromagnetically. Nevertheless, the technology possessed limitations. Even non-functional chips can retain residual data, small digital traces saved within the satellite's relay memory. The team recovered one such trace, a fragmented binary sequence that, once decoded, corresponded to a movement timestamp along France's southern coastline. It positioned the device on a route heading eastward toward Monaco. For the detectives, this represented the first substantial development since the incident. The path was not inactive, it was dynamic. The final recorded signal from the speculated hidden tracker was at 11:42 p.m. just outside Marseille, a calm industrial port city on the French Riviera. The data stream ended suddenly. There was no alert, no retrieval message, only silence. The investigation team thought they had lost their primary digital evidence related to the missing Louvre collection. However, this is the moment the account shifted in an unanticipated direction. Days later, a French cyber unit collaborating with Europol discovered an anomalous finding. A data echo, A trace packet dispatched just before the tracker's signal disappeared. It was not arbitrary interference. It had been redirected. The digital signature led to a private logistics network functioning between Marseille and Monaco, a passage known for high-value consignments, unobtrusive exchanges, and confidential supply chain operations. Law enforcement now theorizes this might not have been a termination point. It could have been a transfer location. Within encoded data records, one communication was prominent. The parcel has been split. That brief, ambiguous phrase, concealed deep within a routing server, generated significant activity within the investigation. Officials started to suspect that the collection, previously assumed to be a single unit, had been separated into smaller lots and concealed as ordinary freight. This is a method utilized by transport networks when they believe authorities are nearing. Divide the valuable items and you fracture the trail. Investigators meticulously reconstructed the route. Marseille docks, the highway toward Toulon, the border checkpoint leading to Monaco. This was not merely a simple path for unauthorized goods. This was the principal artery of the French informal economy, where invaluable artworks, high-end vehicles, and other commodities had previously been moved without leaving evidence. A former customs official informed the team that the Monaco route had been previously noted, not for theft, but for its remarkable capacity to make objects seem to vanish through legal channels. The method is straightforward. Transport a legitimate consignment alongside an unauthorized one. Modify shipping documents during transit, and once customs authorization is granted, it becomes impossible to determine which container held the actual contraband. This potential has compelled investigators to reevaluate the entire event. Could the missing Louvre jewels have been moved not in one bold operation, but through two simultaneous shipments? One, a diversion intended to draw focus, and another transporting the genuine artifacts camouflaged as an official diplomatic package, hidden in obvious view. Then a new development arises. Recent surveillance footage depicts a white Renault van arriving at the Marseille docks minutes before the tracker signal ceased. It was not listed with any recognized museum transport service. Its plates were temporary, authorized just 2 days before the incident. Inside, an individual dressed in a blue logistics uniform, lacking any visible corporate identification, carried a sealed metallic case, identical to the sort frequently employed to transport high-value diamonds with official escort. Observers reported he appeared calm, self-possessed, and exceptionally prepared. He moved with the precision of someone executing a well-practiced procedure. When investigators attempted to track that van, they reached an impasse. The registration address was fraudulent, a vacant location in Nice. However, electronic toll records revealed an inconsistency. 2 vehicles with identical plate numbers passed through the same toll gate within a 5-minute interval. One of them, authorities suspect, was a duplicate plate, a diversionary vehicle. This is the point where recent developments redefine the entire narrative. As per a confidential informant within the Paris task force, police have re-examined the courier manifest from that evening. Multiple containers shipped from Marseille to Monaco were audited again, and among them, one package was secured under a falsified description. Architectural samples fragile. That specific crate was never logged again after it entered Monaco's customs area. Officials theorize it may have been substituted during transit. One analyst characterized the situation directly. The pursuit is not merely about individuals. It is about confronting an established network that understands how to make culturally significant items disappear. If this is accurate, it implies the jewels could be in any location, concealed, separated, or altered into unidentifiable forms. Yet the most unusual piece of evidence remains the locator device itself. Specialists now postulate the tracker may have been intentionally deactivated, not by happenstance, but with exactness. Forensic technicians reviewing the last data transmission noted the pattern exhibited a sudden power surge, consistent with the use of a signal disruption device to overload its circuitry. Such equipment is prohibited, yet accessible to specialists skilled in neutralizing satellite transmissions within seconds. If the involved parties predicted that one jewel contained a concealed chip, disabling it would be their concluding action before the items entered unregulated markets. Still, a communication from the Interpol Art Division indicates that the situation may not be entirely hopeless. Second data pulse, so weak it was originally classified as system noise, was documented by a commercial satellite provider 28 hours post-incident. The coordinates, a location between Corsica and the Tyrrhenian Sea, directly along a recognized transport corridor used for moving high-value items towards Sardinia. If confirmed, this could indicate that at least one jewel stayed active for a full day before being deactivated. This is sufficient to restore international focus. Because if the jewels were moved beyond French borders, international legal protocols would be engaged, transforming the search into a worldwide endeavor. Interpol has now unified efforts with Italian, Belgian, and UAE investigative agencies, assembling the potential of a multinational transport network. Some of the identities appearing are recognized art market participants. Others are persons of interest who focus on private retrieval for unnamed patrons. What is increasingly evident is that this incident was not a spontaneous endeavor. It was orchestrated by experts who were aware of every security protocol the Louvre implemented and potentially had internal facilitation. Sources indicate an internal review has commenced, assessing every employee with access permissions to the artifact storage area. The circumstance that the jewels disappeared without activating a single quiet alarm has convinced many that an insider assisted in deactivating essential systems before the arrival of the involved parties. Yet if the jewels were equipped with even one tracker, someone within the institution must have been aware. This introduces a more profound question. Was the locator implemented by security personnel or by one of the involved individuals themselves? Some investigators are currently assessing a bold hypothesis that the tracker was not an official Louvre security feature, but an unauthorized safeguard placed by a competing network to monitor the movement of the items. If valid, the instant the tracker was destroyed may not have signaled the conclusion of its role. It might have served as a notification, a communication to other participants that the items had been successfully transferred. Regardless of the actual facts, one element is definite. Hidden tracker rumor has converted the inquiry from a museum incident into a comprehensive global intelligence operation. And as recently as this week, sources confirmed that police have formally asked for satellite access records from the private company whose infrastructure detected that faint Corsican signal. If it corresponds with the transmission pattern of the original chip, it could reactivate the trail and renew the search throughout the Mediterranean. Currently, the global community observes, anticipates, and speculates, holding on. The possibility that one small chip might still be transmitting beneath the water, safeguarding the key to one of the most meticulously planned artifact incidents in recent history. But before you continue, consider this. If the tracker was genuinely deactivated, who was intended to receive notification of its cessation? An individual in some location may already possess the solution. This is my channel, and this inquiry remains ongoing. If you think accounts of this nature warrant thorough examination, please subscribe to my channel, distribute this analysis, and let's work to understand what remains out of view. Occasionally, the sole method to locate what is concealed is to maintain observation.